Right off the bat, the internet seemed very perplexed about how does an accidental drowning occur. I immediately thought of Matthew Perry and Whitney Houston. They had the same cause of death, so we know where that came from. There's no illicit behavior, nothing, no smoking gun that you can really point to other than a powerful current in the ocean while you were swimming with your family on vacation, which is like maybe the most tragic circumstances of all. Everything was good, you're hanging out with your family, you're on vacation, you're making memories, and next thing you know, a rip current rips you away. And that's all she wrote. I honestly don't know what's worse. Something that's regrettable and reckless leaves you wondering why and how did we miss this and could this have been avoided. Something like this, though, is just like 1 minute you're good and the next minute you're gone. With your family there, and I'm sure they were trying to save you, and oh my God, that is absolutely gut-wrenching. Just one of those examples of how Mother Nature can be an absolute deadly force. So once again, rest in peace to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, gone at the age of 54, simply from a rip current while swimming with his family.
Earlier, I've never seen so many cowards and black men in this business. I would have to put my brother Tyler Perry in that. See, when I see you do a clip and you go to T's church, and I watch you write a check for $1 million in front of the congregation, and you give it to this man, was that for the congregation to give more money? Or was that really genuine?
She's so fierce.
See, when no one's watching, who are you? So when everyone's watching, and we got a chance to see when no one was watching. The first person to pay Taraji P. Henson the most money she's ever made. And then we said, but did you pay her fairly? And then he said, I paid her more than she's ever made. What does that mean, brother?
Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. He says, you know, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his...
Just when it seemed like Malcolm Jamal's death was just a tragic accident, boom, Katt Williams and Mo'Nique just came out swinging with a whole different story. These two have been pulling back the curtain on Hollywood for a while now, and Malcolm's sudden passing, yeah, that just lit the fuse all over again. According to them, there's way more to this man's death than what's been put out, and guess who's getting dragged into the mess? None other than Mr. Medea himself, Tyler Perry. Now, Tyler wasted no time jumping online with a whole emotional tribute, reading poems and lighting candles like he was the grieving best friend. But word in the streets, that memorial might have just been a distraction, a full-blown smokescreen. Katt and Mo'Nique been side-eyeing Tyler for years, and they're not holding back now. The whispers say Tyler allegedly tried to pull Malcolm into some sneaky behind-the-scenes business, stuff Malcolm didn't want to be a part of. And get this, right when Malcolm was reportedly getting ready to blow the lid off whatever was going on, bam, he turns up dead. In another country. That's right, Costa Rica. It's sounding real suspicious, especially since he was there with his 8-year-old daughter just trying to enjoy a simple beach day. He was out swimming, supposedly just vibing with his kid, and then suddenly, he's gone. Man, the streets are buzzing and the tea is piping hot. This ain't adding up, and Katt and Mo'Nique swear there's more coming. When Malcolm drowned, it wasn't just him. His young daughter almost went under too. Thank goodness a surfer nearby jumped in and saved her just in time. Meanwhile, a volunteer lifeguard rushed to pull Malcolm out of the water. They tried CPR, but it was already too late. He was gone. The forensic pathology team later confirmed it. Malcolm's cause of death was asphyxiation from drowning, and they called it accidental. Simple, right? Case closed? Not even close.
TMZ is now reporting that Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death, which was initially called accidental drowning, was due to a high current in the ocean while on a family vacation. Initially, TMZ simply reported that they had an unconfirmed but reliable source saying that he simply died of accidental drowning, no other detail. Right off the bat, the internet seemed very perplexed about how does an accidental drowning occur. I immediately thought of Matthew Perry and Whitney Houston. They had the same cause of death, so we know where that came from. But in this case, it seems like there's no foul play, no drugs, no illicit behavior, nothing, no smoking that you can really point to other than a powerful current in the ocean while you were swimming with your family on vacation, which is like maybe the most tragic circumstances of all. Everything was good, you're hanging out with your family, you're on vacation, you're making memories, and next thing you know, a rip current rips you away, and that's all she wrote. I honestly don't know what's worse. Something that's regrettable and reckless leaves you wondering why and how did we miss this and could this have been avoided. Something like this, though, is just like 1 minute you're good and the next minute you're gone. With your family there, and I'm sure they were trying to save you, and oh my God, that is absolutely gut-wrenching. Just one of those examples of how Mother Nature can be an absolute deadly force. So once again, rest in peace to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, gone at the age of 54, simply from a rip current while swimming with his family.
Instead of calming things down, that autopsy report just made folks more suspicious. Why? because right before Malcolm passed, he was dealing with some serious drama involving a big shot in the entertainment world. He never dropped a name, but a lot of people started connecting the dots. And that name, Tyler Perry. Just days before he died, Malcolm sat down for an interview and opened up. He said a major industry figure offered him a role, but it came with strings, heavy ones. The kind of role where you gotta sell your soul, as he put it. He was being asked to cross lines he wasn't comfortable with. And this wasn't the first shady offer either. Malcolm said he turned down millions over the years, not just from this person, but from other power players too.
Coming out the gate with Cosby, which put me in a position where, and because I've always had a good team around me, I've always been in a position where I've had the luxury of being meticulous about the kind of roles that I choose. My mom was really instrumental in getting me to understand the concept of longevity, the concept of being versatile within this business, because she would always say, if you look at anyone in this business who's had longevity, there are times when they've been hot and times when they've not been hot. You have to decide what you're going to do during those times when you're not hot, so you're not making desperate acting choices. I've been fortunate enough to I've always had the financial wherewithal to be meticulous about the kind of work that I do. So I have a body of work that I will never have to be embarrassed by. There may be some work I might be embarrassed because I might have been whacked, but there's nothing in my body of work that I'll ever have to be embarrassed in that I misrepresented my people, or I have continued to perpetuate stereotypes of our people. I've been very fortunate to be able to, pick and choose. I've never had to take a role that I felt would compromise my soul.
He wasn't about to play the game. At the time, people thought he was just speaking generally, but now, with everything that's come out, folks are rewatching that clip with new eyes and a whole new level of concern, and it gets messier. That same interview, it happened right when Tyler Perry got slapped with a lawsuit from Derek Dixon, an actor on one of his shows who claimed Tyler blackballed him for saying no to some things he wasn't okay with. Now people are wondering, was Malcolm next on that list? Derek Dixon's lawsuit against Tyler Perry isn't just about money. It's packed with some wild, disturbing claims. Derek is coming for $260 million and he didn't show up empty-handed. He dropped what he says are DM receipts, where Tyler was allegedly saying some real out-of-pocket stuff. In one part of the suit, Derek claims Tyler once pulled his underwear down, smacked him, and told him to relax and just let it happen, promising it wouldn't hurt. According to Derek, he dodged the situation by quickly switching the subject, trying to play it off and get out of there without it escalating further. And people weren't shocked. Why? Because this ain't the first time whispers like this have come up. Months earlier, actor Dixon and Keyes made a cryptic post that fans believe was aimed directly at Tyler too. Dixon didn't drop any names, but the way he worded things, it didn't leave much to guess.
Speaking to my brother about making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. This person was for years. He was claiming, that he had multiple young black men on the payroll, and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there. Not just women that have to deal with it, but it's also men sometimes. And it'll be men tempting men. I was like, well, I gotta protect me, because I'm saying no, and I don't want this person, as powerful as they are, to try to get in the way of my work. So I started recording. So I have them offering me money to take my clothes off. I have recordings when I wasn't working with them or for them. I have recordings of them confessing that, the other guys that they have on the payroll, all of the above.
But that tension didn't stop there. Right after Derek's lawsuit hit the blogs, Christian came back swinging. He announced he was pulling his show off both BET and Tyler's network, hinting at some behind-the-scenes sabotage. And fans immediately started speculating that Tyler was trying to shut him down, Retaliation style. People online didn't hold back, saying it looked like Christian was being iced out for not playing along with whatever power moves were being made behind closed doors. The whole situation has folks giving Tyler Perry the serious side-eye, wondering how deep this rabbit hole really goes.
In transparency, it is disappointing to continuously find out that your show is coming back on the internet instead of finding out from the network. And I've mentioned that in previous seasons and it's still happening. Or to see the trailer online and have to go search for the trailer so I can try to download the trailer for the hit show that I created for this studio and this network, instead of getting it sent when everybody else is getting theirs. It does feel dismissive and disrespectful when it continues to happen and you've addressed it and it still happens. So at this point, I do not believe that the prequel series that I've written and the spin-off show, any prequel or sequels, I do not believe I'll be doing that with BET. Whether you noticed or not, season 2, my Created by credit was removed. And I asked to get it back and they said no. And I ended up having to call the WGA, call the union to force the studio to give me my credit back that I had earned. I created this 15 years ago and I've been working on it for 15 years. I think God gave it to me because he knew I was gonna protect it, and I will. But some things, these things gotta change. In the prequel and sequel space, unfortunately, there are going to be a few personnel changes. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately, where some people get entitled or arrogant and unprofessional and, start coming to work high and inebriated on a regular basis, or start saying whatever they want to when the camera's rolling and disrespectful ad-libs and things. And those things will be addressed. So there may be some personnel changes, but the show will go on.
At first, nobody really thought Malcolm-Jamal had anything to do with the drama swirling around Tyler Perry. I mean, they were never seen hanging out publicly or beefing, nothing like that. But everything changed when Tyler decided to host a private memorial table, reading at his studio, inviting the cast of Read Between the Lines, a show Malcolm had starred in. It was supposed to be a sweet tribute, right? A quiet, respectful way to honor Malcolm. But the internet wasn't buying it. Folks started giving that whole thing the side eye, claiming it felt way too staged, like Tyler was trying to control the narrative. Some even think that Hush Hush Memorial might have been a straight-up cover-up to distract from the real questions people are asking about Malcolm's death. And it only got messier once that old interview of Malcolm resurfaced. The one where he talked about turning down millions from a certain high-profile producer because they wanted him to do things he wasn't cool with. That clip started going viral again, and people started connecting the dots back to, you guessed it, Tyler Perry. Now let's be clear, nobody's officially pointing the finger at Tyler and saying he had something to do with Malcolm's death, but the internet is buzzing with speculation, and that speculation ain't slowing down, especially since Tyler's got a rep for being ruthless behind closed doors when things don't go his way. And who's been the loudest about that? Mo'Nique and Katt Williams. They've both been dragging Tyler for years. Mo'Nique, in particular, has been coming hard at him ever since she says he ruined her career. Why? Because she refused to do unpaid press for the movie Precious, the same film he co-produced with Oprah and Lee Daniels. Mo'Nique says she only got $50,000 for starring in Precious, which was already a super low check for a lead role, but she didn't raise a fuss. She agreed to it. What really set things off was when Tyler and Oprah allegedly pushed her to go on a full-blown international press tour for free, and when she said no, they didn't take it lightly. From that moment on, she claimed she was blackballed. So when it comes to shady behind-the-scenes power moves, Mo'Nique says she knows exactly how Tyler gets down.
You had difficult demands.
I want to address it for the order that it went in. And when Mr. Daniels say I had these demands, it shocked me because I was saying to the screen, Dawn, please ask them what the demands were. And actually, there were no demands. There was a request from the movie studio, and they called and requested that I fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival. I simply said I respectfully declined, because if you can remember at the time, There was a talk show called The Mo'Nique Show. I was doing a comedy tour. I was actually in the award season of the awards, and I'm also a wife, and I'm a mommy. So when they called, I had a couple days just downtime. I wanted to spend that with my husband and my kids. So when we said we respectfully declined, the movie studio called back again. And they said, okay, well, we'll upgrade her hotel room. And my husband simply said again, we respectfully decline. She's gonna take this time with her family.
Yeah.
Well, when the third call came and they said, what is it gonna take to get Mo'Nique to France, to the Cannes Film Festival? And my husband said, is there a number associated with it? And they said, oh, we would never pay for anyone to do any promotions for a movie. And we said we understood, because what people didn't know was I was paid $50,000 to do the movie Precious. And it really wasn't about the money, and I'm not complaining because I signed up to do it with my friend.
Yeah. But
So
you're saying that because you didn't have the money to do this on your own. Is that what you're saying? That you needed to feed your family and pay your bills?
I think that's what America says.
Yeah.
I think we all say, I can't do it for free.
Right.
So when the movie studio says we can't set a precedent and pay you to do this, we didn't have an issue with them.
Okay.
But that's when the reports came that now Mo'Nique is being demanding and she's being difficult. They had a request, we simply had a request, and they said they couldn't do it, and we said we understood. That was it. Room. So Tyler Perry says to me, listen, you may really want to consider promoting this film, because if you get nominated for an Oscar award, your next film is $3 to $5 million. And if you win it, your next film is $6 to $8 million. I said, Tyler, who you talking to? I'm a black woman. Where do they pay those type of salaries, brother? I said, what I cannot do, Tyler, is work for free. I've done what I was supposed to do. I cannot go overseas and do this for free, Tyler. So then he goes on about his spiel, I said, well, listen, you can write me the check for me to go overseas. I don't care where the money comes from, but I'm not gonna do it for free. He says, well, I don't believe in giving money away for free. I said, I don't believe in working for free, so we're on the same page.
Now when it comes to Katt Williams, he's never been shy about how he feels. And Tyler Perry, yeah, he's made it loud and clear he don't mess with him at all. Katt's been calling him out for years, saying Tyler uses his power to tear down strong black men and push roles that make them look soft or overly feminine, even when that ain't who they really are. Katt's comments came right after actor and voice coach Brandon Jay dropped a bombshell about working with Tyler on Meet the Browns. Brandon said he originally auditioned for a serious role, a high school teen named Jeffrey who was being bullied. But out of nowhere, Tyler switched up the script and made the character gay with a crush on his bully. Total curveball. Brandon said he wasn't comfortable with it at all, especially since Tyler allegedly started threatening to fire him if he didn't just go along with the changes. Brandon felt backed into a corner, so he took the role, even though it didn't sit right with him.
Here's a story time about how filming Meet the Browns was the most stressful and hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I had no idea that Tyler Perry's studio schedule was so drastic. If you're working on a regular network show, they take a whole week to film an episode. Tyler Perry Studios, they film an episode in one day. The character was Jeffrey, a fat high school teenager who was very intellectual, who was getting bullied at school. I take 2 to 3 days to learn the entire script. On the day of filming, first thing we do is a table read. I know all of my lines. I'm ready to go. So the director, who is Alfonso Ribeiro Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he starts to block us, telling the actors where to go, where to stand. Mr. Perry comes in, everything changes. So we literally run the entire episode for him, and he hates it. Does that mean I have to learn a whole new script? Yes, that's what it means. Mr. Perry, on the spot, starts rewriting the entire script, and he's feeding me the lines to say, and the director is kind of standing on the side like, you better do it, because if not, they will fire you. Here is where the shoe hit the fan. So in the middle of Mr. Perry changing up the scenes, he says, I want Jeffrey to be gay, and he has a crush on his bully. That's not what I auditioned for.
People online ate that story up and ran with it, saying Tyler only made Brandon play that part because he was allegedly projecting his own DL struggles onto the actor. It wasn't long before the internet started throwing around all kinds of rumors about Tyler's personal life again. And Katt, he came swinging too. He straight up said the reason Tyler plays Madea so well is because he can't convincingly play a regular man to save his life. Katt claimed Tyler shines when he's in a dress, but when it's time to act like a man, it all falls flat. And let's be real, people been side-eyeing that new Madea movie too. Social media's saying the same thing. Tyler looked way more natural playing Madea than when he tried to act like a regular dude. The streets are talking and the whispers ain't slowing down. Now look, it still hasn't been confirmed whether these wild claims about Tyler Perry allegedly having something to do with Malcolm's death are true, but that hasn't stopped people from talking. The rumors are spreading like wildfire, especially after all the heat Mo'Nique and Katt Williams threw his way. One person online said, "I think Malcolm was eliminated. The story kept changing every 5 minutes. I immediately thought this was no accident." Another comment that raised eyebrows claimed, "It's been reported that there was a neurological drug found in his system that shut down his muscles, made it hard for him to swim out." And someone else said Malcolm was sipping from a bottle right before he went into the water. And now that bottle, nowhere to be found. Folks are connecting dots and asking big questions. Was it really just a drowning, or was something darker going on behind the scenes? People aren't just running with these theories for no reason. There are too many strange details, too many powerful names involved, and too much silence where there should be answers. So now I'm turning it over to you. What do you think really happened to Malcolm-Jamal in that foreign country? Do you believe what Mo'Nique and Katt have been saying about Tyler Perry in the industry? Is this just a tragic accident, or is there way more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next messy drop. And if you're ready for even more drama, click right here to watch the next video, because trust me, it only gets crazier from here. See you on the next one.